What's up, Saab fans around the world, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we will try to rebuild the engine in one video and hopefully have a startup in the same video. That's what I'm hoping for. But before we start, I will go through a little bit of information. So since the last video I filmed and dropped on YouTube like a week ago, I talked about oil pressure and what's important to think about when you talk about oil pressure. And of course there's more to it than I got into that video. A few important things is this reduction valve that sits beside the oil pump that is being screwed in. Mine is perfect because I changed it just recently. And what's also important is that the oil pump is working correctly and doesn't have like deep scratches or anything. But from the last video, I have emptied out the old block. So this is now history. I will put this to the graveyard and we will focus on the new block. And what I've done since the last video, which I talked about in the video, we talked about blocking off some of the oil channels. So the two oil channels that goes right beside the main bearing, here we have one and we have one in the middle. This will block off the oil feed that goes up to the balance shaft. So this entire way right here is now blocked off, so it doesn't have to be filled with oil when you start the car. And the same goes for this oil gallery that's in the middle. So I think it's a very nice touch. I think it will do great. And the pressure will be on the inside here, so this will not come loose, and it's threaded in and it's installed with thread locker. The same goes for the tensioner right here. I threaded in an M6 bolt and also with Loctite. Then I had some sealant on this plate right here and tightened this in. So it's double blocked off. So nothing could really leak right here. So what we are going to do right now is we will try to assemble everything together. We will measure all the bearing clearances. But I will not go into depth and show like this is how you do it, this is important to think about, because right now I just want to get the engine back together. So right here I have the brand new crank waiting to be assembled and put into the engine. I have new bearings, new seals and everything. And the last couple of times I think I have used NE bearings. I think, could be wrong. This time I will try out Glyco. I have used this previously and usually they have worked quite well. I have never changed them twice, so hopefully this should work out. And I will measure all the clearances with the plastic gauge. And I don't have the really proper plastic gauge because you should have this one, but you should use the green one. I have the red one, so I will not see exactly what the measurement is, but it will give a hint at least if I'm on the right path. So it should be somewhere down here. So if it's wider than the lowest one, then it might be too tight, but it should be somewhere in between. Right here, so I should be able to get a pretty good understanding on where we are. And regarding the oil jets or the nozzles, this is of course a very important thing because the T5 and the T7s tend to leak is what I've heard, and I had that problem as well. So here is from the 9000 engine, so the T5 oil nozzles. I have cleaned them off, prepared them and everything, and I tried to get new T7. but it was almost impossible to find, and the ones that I find was quite expensive. So then I got the tip from Flow to check for NG93 squirters, and this is actually for the B207, and these are brand new from Saab. So I got a set of these, much cheaper than anything else. The only thing is that the little, what you call it, that should steer in the nozzle so it gets in the correct position. This is a lot smaller, but it's smaller in a good way. So if you take this nozzle and you get it into the cutout in the block and you turn it until it says stop, then it will sit in the exact same position as this one, and basically they are quite the same. It's the same threads, but I reckon that the hole into the bolt is a little bit smaller on this one, so this should be very good for the oil pressure. It should keep a higher oil pressure with this one than it is with this one. And of course these are brand new, so the spring will be stiffer than this one that has probably served for quite some time. So these are going to be installed as well, and I'm going to hone the cylinders and yeah, get everything back together, because right now there are parts everywhere. So let's get it going. Before we get it going, I have one more thing that could also be causing some issues, but I don't think it's an issue, but now I will do it by the book. So on a stock oil filter, you will have the filter in one end. It will sit here. Inside this holder you will have a thermostat that will either the oil will recirculate all the time, and when it gets up to a certain temperature, then it will go out to the oil cooler and go in again. And right now I have not run a thermostat, I only have these connections. So even when the engine has been cold, the oil has been circulated out to the oil cooler and through the filter. And I really don't think it is a problem for the oil pressure, but now I have gotten an AN10 thermostat that I will install in line with the lines, and I've got AN10 connections that's black and gold, because as Paul Reeves wrote in the comments, this looks pretty gangster. So I will just continue with the theme. Of course this will not be visible, but the feeling of knowing that it's gangster inside is always nice. So let's get cracking and just install everything back into the block. So I told you that I was not going to explain a lot of stuff in this video, but I found one of the issues why I have been having a problem with the old engine, and this is very important to share with you. So in the old block I had a very nice crank installed, and it was 100% straight, and it wore down and it lowered oil pressure when the bearings gave up. And now when I have used the plastic gauge to measure the bearing clearance here, you can see that, of course, plastic gauge is not scientific, but it gives you a very good hint. So here I have 0.050 millimeters, and it's like the same all over on these spots. So then I figured what was the torque that I really was using when I have built the previous engines. And I'm pretty sure that I have been using like 20 Newton meters plus 70 Newton meters. And I had one writing on my little list that it said 110 Newton meters, which is wrong. That is way too much, I think. So if you go into Saab Wiz Online, once again, this is official information from Saab. So this list is available online. So you can go in and you see main bearing caps 20 Newton meters plus 70 degrees, not 70 Newton meters. So I torqued all of the main bearings and the clearance is perfect. So 0.050. And in the previous engine, I know that I torqued it down. And when I measured, I got 0.038, close to on all bearings, which on a stock new bearing is a little bit tight. And if you over tight the bearings, they will deform, so they will not be round anymore. So the bearings will be egg-shaped. And if you look in here, you can clearly see that the walls on the bearings have not been touched at all, basically. This is like brand new. So the clamp force has been down here and up here. So I have squeezed it so it has been an oval shape instead of round. Very stupid, very stupid. So with over torqued crank, it will not last long. And if you add a thicker oil and over torquing the crank, yes, it will wear down. So I'm pretty positive that this engine will work really good right now. So the clearance is perfect on the main bearings, so I will do the same on the big end bearings for the rods and just continue the build. And as I said before, I will not film so much because this is straightforward and I have a ton of videos showing the details on how to install everything, etc. So yeah, I will just continue with the build and I will update you guys as we go. So if you have a straight crank and the bearing clearances are perfect, then you should be able to spin it like this by your hand. So now this is fully torqued and I can easily rotate it. So that's how you want it to be. In the beginning of the video, I told you that you could use the 9.3 squirters just straight off the bat and install them. If you install them right here, they will sit like in the middle of where the rod is, so it will be definitely in the way. So what you need to do is, if you go the 9.3 route, you will only take the screw and then transfer over the squirter, which is a bit of a fiddly job, but it needs to be to the side like this one. This is the wrong position. So the base of the engine is back together again. Feels really good to have come this far in such a short period of time. And as I said in the beginning, this video wasn't about showing detailed all the different steps. I have showed you a few of the mistakes that I've done. Those have been corrected. So everything that's in the engine right now feels very, very good. So I have torqued the head back in place. I have put in the tensioner and rotate the engine and everything feels smooth. It's turning soft as it should. So now it's just time to add back a few miscellaneous stuff. So The turbo is going back, a few of the brackets that sits around the engine, etc. So there will not be that much left to do. And in the beginning of this video I said that hopefully we will start the engine today, but I figured out before I could reattach the gearbox, since this is a rear wheel driven, the shaft of the gearbox goes into the crank. So here I have an old crankshaft. You can see it has a pilot bearing inside, and I tried to get that out, but it's difficult without harming it. A new one cost like 60 bucks or something like that, 60 Swedish, so definitely no money at all. So I figured out it would be a bad choice to just throw in a bad bearing there and then shit starts to rattle for no reason. So rather take the time. So maybe next weekend it will be a startup, or hopefully, so I will just have to wait for that part. So during the week right now I will just reassemble a few of the different parts that are missing, and once I get the new pilot bearing I could add the gearbox to the engine and then just lift it into the car. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, it means a lot to me, and give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and hopefully we will have this engine back in the car and the car will be ripping like never before, hopefully. So see you guys in the next one. Bye.